What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another Deck Link Evolution. Today guys, we're doing an Invoked Dino deck. The reason I'm doing this is because on chat, someone was like, would Invoked Dinos work? And we got talking and basically we just had a crack at it. Invoked Dinos is actually not bad guys. You've got the power of Alistair and the Invoked cards of Mechaba on top of Tyranno just being freaking Tyranno and being freaking overpowered. It's basically a Book of Moon on legs. So guys, if you enjoyed this deck, hit that thumbs up, consider subscribing. Either one does help out the channel grow. And without any further ado guys, let's get into this video. Starting us off guys is the man himself, Alistair the Evoker. If you worship Alistair, you're bound to open him or one of your invocation cards or invoke cards near enough turn 1. Alistair's ability is, upon being normal summoned, you get to add invocation directly from your hand, which does mean Alistair is bait for Blossom. And also Alistair does have another ability where you can send him to the graveyard in order to target a fusion monster you control and give it 1,000 more attack points, which means you can give Purgatrio and of course Mechaba 1,000 more attack power in order to overpower certain monsters. We've got 2 copies of Ash Blossom ourselves because Ash Blossom is a great monster. She's a fire attribute, so that means you can use her for Purgatrio if you've already used her. Should your opponent activate a monster, should your opponent play a card that sends a card from the deck to the grave, special ones from the deck, or add a card from the deck to the hand, just shuts it down. Absolutely fantastic hand trap. On to the Dino side, guys. We've got 2 copies of Baby Ceresaurus. If this bad boy is, of course, is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon a level 4 lower Dino from your deck, which is of course very powerful. We have got Pankatops, guys. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, it becomes like a Cyber Dragon, special it from your hand for free, very nicely. And its Earth attribute works well with Lithosogem, and so does Baby Ceresaurus. It is also an Earth attribute, but it's also, you contribute itself to target one card your opponent has and destroy it, which means it is like an interruption during your opponent's turn, which is really nice. 1 copy of Giant Rex is an Earth attribute, which means you can destroy it with Lithosogem's ability. It's a level 4 Dino, which means you go into Lagia and Dakra. Is it Dakra? Dolka. And also, if you banish it with your double evolution pill, this guy comes back. So really great. 3 copies of Misk, because if you have not read Misk, I'll tell you what it does. Misk, guys, during either player's turn, basically makes all your Dino monsters become towers for the rest of the turn, which means they're unaffected by near enough all of your opponent's card effects, which is absolutely broken. And also, Misk has another ability where you can just banish Misk and any other Dino monsters from your graveyard to special summon a Dino whose level is equal to the monsters you banished. So that means all you have to do is banish Misk and another Dino monster, and you can special summon Petite Pteranodon or Baby Ceresaurus. And then during the end phase, Misk's ability will destroy the monster summoned, which means it will pop Petite's ability and it would also pop Baby Ceresaurus' ability. We also have 1 copy of Overtech Quadless. If this guy is basically sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you get to add double evolution pill from deck to hand, which means you can use Diagram to destroy it, to add to not only add a True King, but then you can also add double evolution pill to your hand. You can send it off Overraptor, because then that way you can add double evolution pill that way. Up to you guys. Then also we've got 2 copies of Petite Pteranodon. Again, it's an Earth attribute, and it's basically the other version of Baby Ceresaurus. So Baby Ceresaurus summons a level 4 or lower monster. This guy summons a level 4 or higher monster. So that means if you destroy Petite Pteranodon due to a card effect, you can still summon the Overraptor, you can still summon the Mist, but you can also just summon Pankatops. So just summoning Pankatops and then having an interruption for free, really great guys. Soul Eating Overraptor, it is limited to 1, otherwise you would run free, because Overraptor Misk is an absolute fantastic combo. So Overraptor guys, if this guy is non-special summoned, you get to add any Dino from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, which means you can add any one of our Dinos, or you can just pitch it if you want to do it that way. Up to you. He also has another ability which is barely used, but people do use it. So you can destroy a level 4 lower Dino on the field and then summon a Dino from your graveyard. So that means you could destroy Baby Ceresaurus or Petite Pteranodon, which will prop their effects, and then summon a Dino from the graveyard. That's how it kind of works. We have got 2 copies of True King Ajamaduz. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Basically, the Vanisher. The Fire True King. So the Fire True King, guys, you have to destroy 2 monsters. One of them has to be fire, which does mean Misk and Baby Ceresaurus. And if you do, you can special summon out this bad boy. If you destroy 2 fire monsters to summon this guy out. That you can target, or you can banish one monster your opponent's out of the field and destroy it. And because it doesn't target, it gets around a lot of things. And it doesn't destroy, so it gets around a lot of things if you play this guy's ability. And if this guy is destroyed by a card effect, you can add a non-fire wyvern monster from our grave and add it to our hand, which basically means Lefosagem. So because our Tyranno will use its ability to like pop cards, you can even pop your own like True Kings to trigger their abilities. Lefosagem, guys, you need basically the same like requirements as the Vanisher, just instead of fire, you need earth. And we have some great earth targets. We have Baby Ceresaurus, Pancatops, Giant Rex, Petite Pteranodon. Yeah, there's a lot of earths in graveyard, especially because 4 of the earths let you combo into other monsters by using Lefosagem's ability. If you destroy 2 earth monsters to summon Lefosagem, you could target 3 cards in your opponent's extra deck and banish them, which is really overpowered. And if Lefosagem is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon a non-earth wyvern monster from your graveyard. So you can special summon the Vanisher from the grave off Lefosagem's ability. And then we've got 2 copies of the boy himself, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Tyranno, guys, is basically a Book of Moon on legs. Because during either player's turn, during the main phase, and only during the main phase, you can't activate during the battle phase, just during the main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all monsters your opponent controls into face-down defense mode. Which basically means you can pop all of your Petite Pteranodons, your baby Cerasauruses, or your True Kings, and True Kings for Tyranno, and then they will combo off with their effects. Tyranno also has another ability where it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, which is really overpowered as well. And if it attacks a monster in defense mode, it just sends it to the graveyard and deals 1,000 points of damage. And because it's sending and doesn't destroy, it gets over pesky cards like Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, or cards that say cannot be destroyed by card effects or by battle or stuff like that. It just outs the card. Have a nice day. So Tyranno, fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Double Evolution Pill, it is searchable off the quad list, and you're going to use this to special summon the Tyranno simply by banishing a non-Dino and a Dino from your graveyard. So that means you can use Alistair and banish him because you don't really care if Alistair is banished, because the invocation will get Alistair back into your hand. Dragonic Diagram, guys, because it searches out the True Kings by destroying 1 card in your hand. So you can destroy Baby, Petite Pteranodon, and then you get to search out a True King, or you can destroy the True Kings themselves, to trigger their abilities. Fossil Digs, it lets you add a level 6 or lower Dino from your deck to your hand, which means you can search out the Oviraptor, you can search out the Misk, wherever you particularly need. 2 copies of Invocation, guys. I decided to cut Invocation from 3 to 2, simply because I kept seeing it, and also because we're running extra, you kind of don't need that many invocations. So when invocation, guys, obviously it's searchable with Alice's ability. You can fusion summon an invoked fusion monster by using monsters on the field or either player's graveyard, which is really cool. And then you can shuffle this card from your grave back into your deck and target an Alistair that is banished and add it to your hand. So like I say, it doesn't matter if you do banish your Alistair with Double Evolution Pill, because you can just bring it back. 3 copies of Magical Meltdown, because upon being activated, this card adds Alistair to your hand. So basically you're running like 6 Alistairs. And also, with this card in play, your opponent cannot do anything to negate a fusion summon. So that means if you play Magical Meltdown and say they have Infinity or Borrowload Savage or Herald of the Artlight, they cannot respond to Invocation if Meltdown is in play. So no matter what, your fusion's going off. Then we have got, guys, 3 copies of Extra. The reason I decided to run this is because you don't really, apart from like the Invoked and like the Calamities, you're not really running much of the extra deck. So you can still, like, Dinos like don't particularly care for their extra decks. Obviously Tyranno is your ultimate win condition. So I was like, yeah, we could still do this. We could still banish like maybe 1 mechaba or 2, but then we can still fall back on like the Calamities. You could still fall back on the Tyranno. It doesn't really matter if you banish like key cards, because like again, there is like 3 ways you can win. You can win with VFD, you can win with mechaba, you can win with Tyranno. It all depends on which like strategy you go and like gets banished and which cards you get. 1 copy of Terraforming, because this adds either Diagram or Terraforming to, Magical Meltdown to your hand. So that means it's basically running 7 Alistairs, which is really overpowered. because we were running Dino, guys, Dinos tend to like to go second, so I decided to put in a hand trap called Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched, guys, if you control no cards at the end of the battle phase, you can activate this card from your hand, and if you do, banish all cards your opponent controls until they have the same as you do. So if you have no cards and you play this card from your hand, your opponent has to banish their entire board until they have one card left. So if you're going second, you can simply just go. You can simply go second. Simply end your battle phase, or sorry, just go into your battle phase, end it, wipe your opponent's board out. Absolutely fantastic. Then we've got 3 copies of Imperm, because Imperm, guys, is basically an effect veiler that can't be called by the grave. So if you control no cards on the field, you can activate this card from your hand. This basically it's like an effect veiler, like I say, but if you set it and then activate it, spell or traps in the same column cannot be activated. So it's really cool. And that's it for the deck, guys. On to the extra deck. We're running 2 copies of mechaba. Now, the reason I'm not running 3 is because, like I say, I'm not running 3 because of extra deck space, because I need like other cards, and 2 is actually not bad. So with this, should your opponent activate a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can, as a quick effect, send the same type. So if they activate a monster, you basically send a monster to the graveyard. And if you do, negate and banish the card. So that's really overpowered, because it's basically an omni negate that banishes on top of all your other cards like VFD and Tyranno. It's very cool. And also, because he's level 9, you can use mechaba and a True King to go into VFD. Now we are using 2 copies of Purgatorio, because again we're running 2 because of the extra. This guy, it gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls. So the more cards they control, the more power Purgatorio is going to get. Purgatorio can attack all cards or all monsters your opponent controls, like Tyranno, which is really nice. And also, he inflicts piercing damage. So all in all, great card. And because it's a fusion, you can use Alistair's ability to give him 1,000 more attack points just to make him hit even harder. On some Exceeders cards, I am running 2 copies of Dolka and 2 copies of Lagia. Now the reason I'm running these is because, like I say, we are running dinos, especially some level 4 dinos. Level 4 dinos, guys, like I say, you need to either go into Dolka or Lagia, and it's really easy to go into them. So Lagia, guys, is like an Imperm. So during either player's turn, you can attach an Exceeds material to negate and destroy an opponent's monster. This effect isn't once per turn, so if you have Dolka in play, he's 2 monster negates on his own. And then for Lagia, during either player's turn, when your opponent would summon or special summon a monster or play a spell or trap, you can attach 2 Exceeds materials and negate and destroy that monster. So this is good to stop spell or traps, or just like your opponent's normal summon. And Dolka, depending on the situation, can negate up to can negate 2 monsters. So again, it all depends. If you have like Imperm, you go into Lagia. If you don't, and you're comfortable with like your opponent like deck, you might go into Dolka. It's up to you, depending on the situation. And then we're running 3 copies of VFD, the boy himself, known as True King of all calamities. Reason, guys, everyone calls him VFD, which stands for Very Fun Dragon, because he's like Zexal. He basically is the ultimate floodgate that says you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So during either player's turn, you can attach 1 Exceeds material. All monsters on the field become the attribute, and also your monsters on your opponent's field that with the attribute cannot attack, and they can't activate their abilities. So your opponent can still play effects from the hand and can still play effects from the graveyard, but any effect on the field is flat out negated. So yep, Calamities we're having fun with this guy. On to some Exceeders, guys. We're running 2 Almirage and 2 Secure Gardener. The reason we're running these specific links is because when you summon Almirage or like Baby, you can go into Almirage because they have 1,000 less life, 1,000 or less attack points. Then you link them into Secure Gardener. And because Almirage is a fire attribute and Secure Gardener is a light attribute, a single Alistair can alone make Purgatorio or mechaba. Simply by just summoning Alistair, search out that invocation, go into Almirage, go into Secure Gardener, slap down that invocation, you instantly have a mechaba. And if you do it that way, mechaba is the 4th summon, which means you play around Nibiru. So you can have a omni negate and play around Nibiru and do whatever you want to do. And that's it for the deck, guys. It is legit just a very fun deck. It has the power of Dinos, but again, we've merged it with Invoked because obviously in this game, Dinos are very like a weaker because obviously because Overraptor is at 1. If Overraptor was at 3, Dinos would legit be one of the best decks in this game because it'd be so more consistent. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck. Like I say, it's here, guys. Hit that thumbs up if you like it, or subscribing because it really does help out the channel grow. Stay tuned for the replays, guys. And if you do, maybe you want to like be part of that experience live, join us on Twitch or YouTube, where I do try and stream near enough every day. And without any further ado, guys, take care.